Hello, in this video we'll show you how to do an hourly export of your Shopify orders to Google Drive using Altera. These orders will be in the Matrixify format, and you can also do this with any other Shopify data that you have on your store. On our example store here, we have one order that was just recently created. So the first thing we need to do is go to Google Drive, and we'll make a new folder for these. So we can just call that order exports, and we'll create that. Now that we have the folder, we can go back to Altera. The first thing we need to do is to set up the connection with Google Drive. So for that, we'll open up the app, go down to Settings on the left menu, and open up Remote Connections. In here, we'll create a new connection. For connection type, we'll choose Google Drive, and we'll click the button that says Connect Google Account. That will open up an authorization window where we will accept the permissions, which will allow Altera to see the specific folder that you allow. Once we click that, the authentication completes, and then we'll go and click on Select Folder to choose the folder that we want the orders to go to. We'll choose Order Exports, which is the folder that we just created, and click on Select. At this point, we have the connection set up, and we can rename this. If you want to, we'll say Orders Google Drive, just so we have a friendly name for this, and we'll save that. Now that we have the connection with Google Drive set up, we can create our export. We'll go back to the home page and click on New Export. For the data to export, in this example, we'll choose Orders, but we could choose other sheets as well. For these types of situations, we usually want a single CSV file, since we'll be doing this on a schedule. We also have the option to include placeholders into the file names if we want them to be a specific format, but in here we'll just leave it as a default. And then let's see, we'll go down here, we'll run the job on the schedule, and we'll have this repeat, and we'll say we'll repeat it every hour. For the orders themselves, we'll add a filter, and we'll say the order is processed at in the last 60 minutes. Two things to highlight here. We're choosing processed at instead of created at, and the difference between these is created at is when the order shows up in Shopify's database, and processed at is when the order is placed. Usually these dates will be almost the exact same. However, if you're importing historical orders, the created at date would be today, even if it was processed at a later time. We recommend using processed at just so you don't import old orders accidentally or you don't export old orders accidentally if they're being imported for some reason. We also chose last 60 minutes for the purposes of this demo, but usually we would recommend saying the last 1 hour. The difference between 60 minutes and 1 hour is when we say the last 1 hour, we're looking at the last full hour. So if we're running this export at say 5:15, the last 1 hour will be from 4 to 5 o'clock, whereas the last 60 minutes will be the last 60 minutes, so from 4:15 to 5:15. And since we just created these orders, we'll use 60 minutes instead of 1 hour so that they show up. The last thing we need to do is to go down here to Export Location, and we'll choose our Google Drive folder. There's optionally this checkbox here where we'll skip the upload if there's no results. So depending on your use case, you might not want the file to show up if there's no orders there or not. We'll check that. Actually, we'll leave that unchecked. So now we click on Start Export, and the export will run. We see that it's exporting one order in the last 60 minutes. And then if we go down here, we see that the connection was sent to Google Drive and the file path is here. So we can click on Order Exports to see the folder itself, or we can click on the file to open up the file directly with the information we need. Now at this point, the job is scheduled to run repeatedly every hour. We can also trigger this manually. So for example, if we went here, we could create another order. We'll do that quickly. Just choose a sample product and choose a sample customer. We'll save that. Mark the order as paid, which will create the actual order in Shopify. And now if we go to orders, we'll see that we have 2 orders within the last 60 minutes. So if we go over here, we see that we have this order export that we configured. One other thing I would recommend doing for these repeating exports is to rename them. So we can say, export orders to Google Drive, and this just makes it easier to find in the future. So this will run automatically every hour, but just for example purposes, we can manually trigger it to run again by clicking on Run Again at the top. And now the export will run. And if we go over to, if we go back here in Google Drive, we'll see that we have 2 exports. I think we need to wait one more second, and if we run it again now, we'll see the 2 orders showing up and exported to Google Drive. So that gives us, we have this first order export that we ran. We ran the second order export too quickly because the full minute hadn't passed yet, which is why only one showed up there. But then when we run it again, we'll see the 2 orders here with our example. And now if we were to just let this run on a schedule, since it will run every 60 minutes, orders will not be duplicated between the multiple runs, and you'll just get the new orders for every time here in this Google Drive folder. So that's it. You can find Altera on the Shopify App Store or reach out to our support if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.